We're the part of the office that deals with, shall we say, the citizens' interests, and particularly the needs and the measures that can be taken to improve living conditions, quality of life for disadvantaged groups in Europe. We have two elements. One is essentially capitalising upon the capacities we've got in the office for surveys and monitoring activities, and we do this survey on quality of life in Europe. But the other side is taking seriously the idea that we can contribute to ideas for improving quality of life, improving living conditions. And much of our work is driven by looking at the situation of specific groups in society, but also in relation to the labour market and the workplace, and developing research across the member states. This very often involves case studies, sometimes in communities, sometimes in companies, and recently also in cities. In the surveys, we can document the situation of people at a given point in time. We can tell you which groups in society are more or less advantaged, are more or less content with their lives, and we can identify what might be some of the key problems. But we can only come forward with ideas about what might be done to improve the situation for those groups who we see as having problems or are more likely to have problems. In our case study research, we're looking at the implementation of real measures, practices and policies to improve the situation, and asking the question, do they do so? Under what circumstances do they contribute effectively? And what kind of support policies or support measures need to be in place to ensure more effective practice or more effective implementation of policies? Whether they are good practice in city policies for the integration of migrant groups, or good practice in the workplace for the reconciliation of work and care for older people, or good practice in the community regarding the development of services to support groups at risk of exclusion or already excluded. And we find that a lot of the work that we do is really trying to put into practice the guiding principles that everyone has around issues like coordination or integrated working. And we're trying to see how that can be made effective at ground level. But of course, the situation is very different in the different member states. So a big challenge is then to pull together the messages from the work that we do across the EU to see what the implications are for policy at the EU level.